Here we are. Hi, hello, what's going on everybody? Welcome to a new video on the channel. Who knew this day would come? I definitely did not, but here we are nonetheless. This is going to be a little bit of an update video, a little bit of just like a hey, what's going on? Like I'm alive type little check into the channel. As well as some potential Pokemon content, which you'll see in a little bit. But yeah, I'm alive. I'm doing great. I'm living my best life here in London, and I could not be happier. I've struggled a lot. I've been like very transparent with some of my mental health issues here on the channel that you've seen as I've opened up Wi-Fi battles and been through things. You know, I'm always very transparent about where my headspace is at, and I can confidently say my headspace is like really good right now. Like it's really freaking amazing. And to be sort of like in this sort of like life reset now, being in England and just like I live here now, like that's so fucking cool, is like it's changed my life. So I did like a cute little montage at the end of the last CDT video because it was so important to me, because the people who I met through Draft League, people like Dr. Slacking, or people like Jack, or people like Vepsis even, who still, despite him not living in England, lives in Finland, really motivated me to come out here in such like an important way. And I couldn't be more grateful for Draft League for getting me here, because I really do see that as the causation for why I'm here in London today, and much happier than I really ever have been. But enough about me. I am obviously here for a reason. Why am I tuned in here again? Why am I making a video? Who knows? Honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I have no intention of returning to, you know, Wi-Fi Draft League, at least definitely not in the same capacity that I did last time. And honestly, I don't even have the games, so that would be like something far out in the long run if I ever decided to do it, which is still a giant question mark. I have no fucking clue. The larger point that I'm trying to make here is just that like I do kind of still like the process of creating videos, so whether they're going to be videos that create huge traction or be as entertaining as Wi-Fi battles, I really don't know, but I really don't care either. And my goal just at this point is to put my best foot forward and maybe show you all some Showdown content that I've been doing, because yeah, I have been playing Gen 9 a little bit on Showdown, very casually, very like with not too much focus and too much like dedication like I would have last generation. But in a way, I think that makes it for more entertainment. I'm less focused on like desperately trying to win, and more focused on just like drafting new Pokemon that like I really want to try out, or just trying new strategies, or trying new mechanics of the generation, or playing in BFO Surge, which is my league that I co-founded with all the other BFO members. And it is something called the Surge format, where you start with a low tier draft, and then every single week or every single round you make upgrades to your team, so it transitions from one that is from low tier to high tier, and I'm the queen of transitions, so horrible joke. Regardless, I am participating in this season of Surge. How could I not? I run the entire thing, so I wanted to showcase my journey on Surge, because I've played Surge, well, this is the 5th Surge on Showdown ever, and there was even one on Wi-Fi, and I really never really showed the full thing of it on YouTube, and that's one of my bigger regrets for the channel. Even though it wouldn't be something that gets as much attention and stuff, this is like, honestly, I almost take more pride in Surge than I do COG to some extent, so it is important for me to show it on the channel, and I figure it's a nice way to segue back into just a little bit of video creation. Don't get too excited, just a little bit, just a tiny little bit of video creation. I promise I'm not sliding back in. I don't have the time. I'm spending so much time here in London doing so many different things. I couldn't even imagine like focusing on Mons like to the extent that I used to. Regardless, I'm doing great, and this video is going to showcase some of these Surge matches. I played 2 Surge matches, both with the same team, and then in future videos you'll get to see the upgrades that I make and the battles that I get to play subsequently, and it's gonna be cool. Maybe you'll get some nice fun Showdown content, which you haven't gotten from me in a very long time. So yeah, let's do it. So first I'm going to do a very quick draft analysis of the 8 Pokemon that I picked up for the starting draft of Surge. Again, keep in mind that these start really low tier and then they move up to high tier, which is a really fun process, because as you get further into the bracket and face harder opponents, the Pokemon you're using also become tougher as well. And it's not just about playing, it's not just about building, and I think the builds in Surge are so amazing because It's an 8-mon format, so you kind of get to exploit weaknesses and have much more creative sets. But the other point that I'm trying to make is that as you upgrade your draft throughout the tournament, that's the skill. It's a skill that not a lot of people really have to think about in regular draft leagues, because typically they just make 1, 2, 3 transactions through the entire thing. But in this format, you're required to make transactions, and you have to think about how you're going to upgrade your team from one that is low tier to one that is high tier. So the team that you see here isn't the team that we're going to have round 5 of the tournament. It's going to be very different, and how I upgrade it is going to determine how well I do, because, you know, you got to have a good team to succeed in draft leagues. So, all right, this is the team. I wanted to do something that I've never really tried before. I wanted to try Pokemon I've never tried before. And I wanted to sort of challenge myself to use some mons that I kind of thought weren't that great of mons. So the first mon is Magnezone, which is a mon that I kind of have thought is not so great, and I saw it in the tier list, and I was thinking, what if I did some kind of like Dragmag reprisal, right? So like Gen 5 Dragmag was like a huge thing because fairy types didn't exist. There's not a lot of fairy types in this generation either, so it would be cool to sort of reprise that strategy and use Magnezone as a way to sort of break down steel types, and honestly just as a really, really strong fairy type switch in if fairy types do exist on my opponent's team. So Magnezone is the first mon, and I paired it with Regidrago. There were a couple dragons that I was thinking of using, but I figured that Regidrago is the most dragon that I could possibly use. I wanted to pair it with Tatsugiri, but unfortunately Badass Frostlass sniped Tatsugiri. Pair it in the way that I just want to like stack my dragon types like I did with Azumarill and Tapu Fini, and I didn't get to do that because Tatsugiri got sniped. So you're not going to see as much dragon in this team as I originally had hoped, but who knows, maybe we'll correct it later on in the drafts. But for now, that's my Dragmag core, literally Regidrago, Magnezone, Dragmag, and I'm really excited to use it. The cool thing about Regidrago this generation is that it gets a ground coverage, like Earth Power and Earthquake, so it can actually hit mons much better, and I think Ice Fang is new for it as well, so it got some extra coverage, which makes it a lot scarier. Uxie I also added for rocks and for a ground immunity and just a nice support mon that pivots. Grafai was kind of like I was on the fence about, but I wanted to try it again. I said it would be a really, really good mon at the start of the generation, and then I didn't really see it perform as well as I thought it did, so I want to try and see if I can make it work. Parting Shot as Prankster is really good to set up Regidrago. It's just a fast pivot that can be like a nice core with Magnezone, as well as Zoroark, which anyone who knows me infamously knows that I don't know how to face Zoroark. I constantly think that it's something else, which is just like, it's like the one flaw. I mean, I have a lot of flaws in how I play mons, but I genuinely think I'm a pretty good player. But if I'm in front of a Zoroark, all my skill just like disappears. So I wanted to try it for myself in my own hands to, one, see if it would help me improve when I face Zoroarks in the future, but also I wanted to see if maybe, I don't know, I could use the mon that always gets me very well, if that makes sense. Like if there's a mon I keep losing to, I want to try it and see if I can make other people lose to it. Camerupt I chose as my ground because I wanted another fairy resist. Didn't want to rely on Grafai just for that, or Magnezone even, so I wanted that third fairy resist when I'm going so Regidrago focused. And then I also wanted just a cheap ground, and there weren't many options that weren't just going to completely run me out of points. Camerupt was the best one. It was only 2 points, so I ended up taking it. Flapple was just so I can have another dragon, so I could say, you know, I was doing Dragmag. I was between this and Appleton, but I liked the pivot core that it helped with Zoroark and Grafai with. But in hindsight, it's not really that good of a mon. I'll just say it like right here, like I didn't bring it to either of my games, and I haven't made transactions yet for the next 2 weeks, but I'm definitely planning on dropping it, so we don't need to worry about Flapple too much. And then Hisuian Avalugg, yeah, this league has a lot of Hisuian mons from the Legends Arceus series because it allows the Pokemon that are coded into Scarlet and Violet but haven't been released yet in Scarlet and Violet. So we're doing Hisuian Avalugg because I like it as a rapid spinner, which I don't have on my team yet, and then I also like having Boots Sturdy as just a way to like protect against any sort of like setup threats, just so I have a Boots Sturdy mon in the back that can, with a pretty high attack stat, KO back most of the time. So that's the team, and we have 2 opponents. We have Kurt, and we have AlrightKap. which are two really, really strong opponents. Two people, Kurt, I don't think has played in Surge before, but you know him from CGT, you know him from YouTube, and we've actually never played each other despite knowing each other for like 5 years. And then Cap, I played a couple times before, and he's been in Surge quite often as well, and has done very well. So it's a bit of a tough draw for the first 2 rounds, but you'll get to see the games. So let's get into it. So the first fight we have is against Cap, someone who I played like many, many years ago, but haven't played in quite a while. I think the last time we played was like Owl, which was before I even started Wi-Fi. So it's cool to get to play like folks that I used to play a long time ago again. And I'm really excited for this game heading into it because it's just been a while. So that's really cool. You see the 6 mons that Cap ended up bringing. The 2 mons that he left on the bench were, gosh, what were they? They were Regidrago, which is why I brought the Camerupt, and Grumpig, which was just a 1-pointer. So he brought these 6. I wasn't too surprised at these 6 coming because I figured Regidrago wasn't too great into my team with Camerupt and then all these resists. And then Grumpig just was like not as good as some of these other mons. Gabite actually is really scary for me, so yeah, I was not surprised to see it come. Also, like, I have a magnezone, so it makes sense for the ground type to show up. But the mons that I ended up bringing are Choice Scarf Magnezone to deal with things just like Hisuian Typhlosion and Trap Revavroom, which was sorely under-tiered this season. This special Regidrago as my Hisuian Typhlosion answer, which surprisingly was my best fire resist on the team. This support Encore Uxie that gets up rocks and tries to not be setup fodder, and then also tries to beat Gyarados 1v1 because it's defensive. A Life Orb Zoroark, which I understand isn't going to be a very good illusion because of the Life Orb going, but like, it had the best damage output, leave me alone. We also have a Life Orb Grafaiai here, which has Gunk Shot, Knockoff, Encore, and Parting Shot. Gunk Shot and Knockoff hits pretty much everything except Gabite and Revavroom, and if I can Parting Shot on those, I think they're pretty good setup fodder for, well, I don't think anything because I don't have anything that's set up, but there's no better move for them anyway, so I guess it's less about being setup fodder and more just like I get to knock them off so they don't have like Eviolite or Black Sludge and then just wear them down gradually over time. I think Flapple was just like far worse, as well as Abalug, so Grafaiai was definitely the 6th mon I chose to be on this team. And then Camerupt was here for Regidrago. I just was Fizdef so I could take like an explosion from it and things like that, but it's also surprisingly a really, really good Revavroom answer because it resists both of the dual stab, and Revavroom gets Bulldoze, so Magnezone can only really take 1 hit from it, whereas Camerupt can take multiple, despite, you know, it's more defensive and it's only 2 times weak instead of 4 times weak, so that's why we have Camerupt. So let's get into the game. So oh god, it's on slow. Alright, we're gonna move it on normal. But this is a great situation for me because I literally just wanted to lead Uxie to get a procs, and because Gyarados came out, I don't really have to worry about like preserving Uxie later on for Gyarados because Gyarados is right in front of me. So he goes for Waterfall and doesn't get too many flinches, doesn't get any flinches, which is like really, really great for me. And I'm able to just like win the 1v1. Now this Wo-Chien is really, really scary because I don't have a grass type here, so Leech Seed is just totally free. Thankfully, because there's no Regidrago, this has become much more opened up, the Camerupt, and I can sort of just kind of try and scout out its set while I just kind of spam Will-O-Wisp and Lava Plume and just try and gradually get it down as I try and figure out what its set is. So I switch into Grafaiai here just to reset the Leech Seed, which is great. And then what I do here is I double back into Camerupt, knowing and thinking that he's not just going to Leech Seed again. Instead, he Ruinations, and we see that this thing's set is fully revealed with Leech Seed, Knockoff, Protect, and Ruination. So he could choose to go for Leech Seed here, but it wouldn't kill me. There's literally nothing that would kill me because Ruination would do half my HP, and Knockoff would do absolutely nothing. So I could just click Lava Plume here to wear it down. Since there's no Regidrago, losing Camerupt isn't the biggest deal in the world, other than Revavroom. Revavroom is really scary, but we still have like super effective coverage on Regidrago for it, as well as a way to trap it with Magnezone, so hopefully it's not going to be that too big of a deal. I go into Regidrago here, and this is really why I like Regidrago and Zoroark together, because Regidrago is just such a massive threat and his fairy type really doesn't want to take like a +2 Ice Fang, he can't really afford to switch out, because if this is a Regidrago, he doesn't want to give me free setup. Unfortunately for him, it's Zoroark, but what I'm trying to say is it forces him to stay in and lose the Wo-Chien, because he has to consider that if this is a Regidrago, he needs to not let it set up. So that's why I really like that combination, not knowing which is the correct one. And here I make a little bit of a weird play. I kind of forget about Bulldoze, to be completely honest with you, but I did always take one Bulldoze, so at least I'm okay on that front. But he just parting shots with his Revavroom instead, and it goes into Gabite. Now Gabite is really scary because I don't have a lot that can kill it, like in one hit. I have to kind of wear it down over time with things like Future Sight, but he switches out, fearing maybe Ice Punch, maybe Dazzling Gleam, neither of which I have, and thankfully this Revavroom isn't clicking Bulldoze. I mean, clicking Bulldoze on the Uxie would be a very bold play, and Parting Shot does make sense because he doesn't want to be trapped by the magnezone. So yeah, but this sends him back into Gabite, and I get to go into Uxie to just deal with what I thought would be an Earthquake, but then he goes for Swords Dance. Now, +2 Dragon Claw doesn't kill me, +2 Crunch does, and +2 Outrage does. So there's only 2 moves he can click in order to KO me here, but thankfully he can't boost his speed. So even if he kills me with a hit here, I have actually 3 Mons that are faster and can revenge. So he'll definitely get a kill here, and the Future Sight crit kind of sucks, but like I also think that like I would have revenged it anyway. What it allows me to do though is it allows me to click Sucker Punch and be 100% accurate instead of Night Daze, which I think is like 95, so that's cool. I just go for Night Daze here because I just want to get as much chip on this Revavroom as humanly possible, and he actually goes for Parting Shot again, which I think is a little bit of a misplay. I think at some point he has to like bite the bullet and just like predict the Magnezone coming in and click Bulldoze, or he has to just Iron Head, and I don't know, like, but he just keeps Parting Shotting, thinking that I'm going to switch out. But at this point I feel like Zoroark's done enough, and that I can really just like do what I can to just weaken this Revavroom so that Regidrago looks good in the end game. The other thing I'm seeing now that Gabite is gone is that Scarf Magnezone looks really good. I would have to chip his Hisuian Typhlosion a little bit, but that's an option, which is why I sort of attacked the Revavroom to get it in range of Scarf T-Bolt. Now here I Sludge Bomb despite being -1, and this gets his weakness policy activated, which is super scary as he goes for Calm Mind. Now I switch out here. You could think that I could go for Sludge Bomb, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to let him agility, because if he agilities, then he outspeeds my whole team and sweeps. So because I have Encore on this Grafaiai, I want to make sure that, well, he's not going to agility. I can Prankster Encore if it does click agility, but it just clicks Moonblast, which is totally fine because now I can go into my Scarf Magnezone and start clicking T-Bolt for free. The only bond that can take a single hit is Typhlosion. We get to see if its boots are not here, which it is not, so it could be Scarf, but if it is Scarf, then Regidrago just wins. So it's not Scarf, kills me with Flamethrower, but now we're in a position where Regidrago will take any one hit from Typhlosion and will probably take any one hit from Revavroom and can just KO with 2 Dragon Pulses or something. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. So it was a good game. I got to try Regidrago for the first time, and I got to try Zoroark for the first time. Those 2 were definitely good MVPs, but the mon that I really fell in love with, that I didn't think I would fall in love with at all, is Magnezone. Just like Scarf Magnezone after Gabite went down was such a great win con, and I think it's going to be like a mon that I'm going to carry through the entire tournament because it just seems to do really well. It just seems to be a really nice mon, so we're gonna keep it. Really all the mons performed. The only mon that I thought like didn't do great this game was Camerupt, but I mean, it's because he didn't bring the mons that Camerupt were meant to beat, so it's fine. It wore down Wo-Chien, and that was really, really important in the game too. So everyone really did its job, and it was a good game altogether. So here is the match against Kurt, who again is like an amazing content creator who's really, really good at YouTube and editing and thumbnails and such that I never really had the greatest hand for, but hey, I respect him a lot. And the thing about Kurt is that I've known him for longer than most people have known Kurt. I know him from like the very first league that I was in. He was the champion the seasons prior, so I definitely have quite a bit of a I mean, yeah, we just know each other, so that's cool. Anyway, He has a very, very interesting team. He has a Lucario, he has a Noivern, he has a Gardevoir, and he has a Uxie. So he has 4 really, really top tier threats, and then he picked 4 really, really low tier mons. So 2 of those were Camerupt and Quilladin, and then the 2 that he put on the bench were Samurott and a Alolan Grimer. I actually thought Alolan Grimer might come for Zoroark, but I'm not surprised to see the ones that I see. So this is the team that I brought. I brought Choice Specs Magnezone, not for either of its stabs, but because Specs Tri-Attack just looked really good for the obvious Camerupt switch-in. We have a Dragon Dancing Regidrago. Outrage is really good into things like Uxie, but obviously like Gardevoir is a thing. I kind of expected like Air Balloon Gardevoir, which is why we have the Thrash. And then Earthquake is kind of just like for Camerupt, Lucario as well. So it's just Dragonets. And then Lumberry, obviously, because we have Outrage and Thrash. This was a Uxie set that is, again, just really supportive. I wanted Psychic and U-Turn on it because it was the best at hitting the team. Anything else that I don't really hit with Psychic and U-Turn doesn't want to be T-Waved. So like Lucario doesn't want to be T-Waved. Gardevoir definitely doesn't want to be T-Waved. Noivern doesn't want to be T-Waved. Because all of a sudden it's going to make things like Specs Magnezone outspeed them, which is not what Kurt wants. We also have like no speed Uxie, so we underspeed his Uxie's U-Turn. And then we have a Boots Zoroark with Night Days, Flamethrower, Sucker Punch, and U-Turn. The idea being that his Dark Resist doesn't really exist if Alolan Grimer doesn't come. It's just Zoroark and Flamethrower busts the Zoroark. Now the stats here, Lucario can't kill me with a Life Orb Modest Vacuum Wave with this investment, but things like Life Orb Adamant Extreme Speed and Life Orb Adamant Bullet Punch don't kill me from full regardless of my HP and defense, so it was just a question of investing in special defense so I could take a +2 Vacuum Wave at the very least. This is a Chillinberry Grafaiai, max attack, just an offensive Grafaiai that is meant to live in extreme speed from Lucario, which is cool. Parting Shot Prankster, again, this actually has a little bit more utility in helping Regidrago set up because it actually, you know, weakens mons for Regidrago to set up on. And then the last mon here is Hisuian Avalugg, which I'm bringing as a just-in-case Lucario check where I can sort of just keep it in the back. And if Lucario is ever set up and it's about to like sweep my entire team, I can be boot sturdy and just kill it with an Earthquake or a Body Press. It's also just really good in general. Like the Ice Resist doesn't really exist at all other than Lucario. So yeah, Mountain Gale looks pretty good just with max attack Adamant. And with the speed, I might even still outspeed like a Paralyzed Uxie or a Paralyzed Quilladin, or like a no-speed Quilladin, and definitely a Camerupt, so I could even potentially get a Mountain Gale flinch on them, which would be pretty funny. So yeah, let's see how the game goes. So I start off with Magnezone as planned. I don't think there's anything he can lead with other than Lucario, which I don't see as like a likely lead, that wants to take a Specs Tri-Attack. He doesn't want Lucario to be weakened this early because it's his best sort of like sweeper. So something has to take an Analytic Tri-Attack here, and as I kind of expected on matchup, it's going to be this Camerupt, as he soon realizes that this is going to do a ton of damage. Now, this, just 2 KOs, there's like nothing you can switch into, so Magnezone, as you know, seen in the matchup by me, definitely was going to be able to take out Camerupt, which is great. Uxie is going to go for Calm Mind here, which I guess wasn't a surprise for me, especially given the way that Kurt brought it in here. But I just clicked Try Attack again to try and get some kind of status on it. Instead of some status, I get a crit, which is like fine. He goes for Substitute here, and the only thing, unfortunately, that can break this Uxie Substitute is Outrage. So even though Draining Kiss isn't doing very much to me, thank God, I am going to, you know, force in the Gardevoir, which is going to make me burn my Lumberry, which is okay and not okay. Like, I have switch-ins to Gardevoir, and by switch-ins I mean like one time the switch-in to Grafaiai. But you know, if it means not losing a Uxie on the spot, then I'll happily take the Lumberry off my Regidrago. So this comes in and goes for Super Fang, and now this is a really, really goofy interaction. I creeped my Grafaiai to creep a Lucario creeping a Regidrago, but Kurt ran a little bit more speed on it than that, and he clicked agility expecting to force me out as I go for low kick and take him out. So a very, very weird turn there where I miscrept, but then he mispredicted, and it ended up working out in my favor, but that could have gone really, really badly in like another world. So I'm just going to parting shot here to weaken Noivern. He could go for U-turn, he could go for something else, but I see this as just a prime opportunity to get up my rocks, except for he is taunt, so that's really mean. How dare you? So I'm just going to go for U-turn here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I do. And I don't want many spikes to get up here, so I decide to go in regidrago and just click Dragon Dance, expecting him to just start spiking, but like I wanted to at least punish it by setting up DDs. Unfortunately, he just Leech Seeds, and I sort of start to realize that this probably wasn't too great of a play. I probably should have just gone into Grafaya and clicked like Adamant Gunk Shot, which would have like done a ton. But I've kind of committed at this point. I'm just gonna click Outrage to like weaken it. Definitely not the smartest of plays, especially because he poisons me here with regidrago, and he's going to be able to very easily just go into Gardevoir, let me take the poison damage, let me take the Leech Seed damage, and regidrago is going to go down. So I really misplayed regidrago here. I could have kept it in the back to break through Uxie a little bit better or something, but it's not the end of the world because I have magnezone, which forces either Gardevoir to stay in and attack me and take a huge Specs hit, or forces him to switch. I know Flash Cannon is free here, but what I was afraid of is Flash Cannoning on a Mystical Fire from Gardevoir, and then having to be -1 in front of a Calm Minding Uxie. I was kind of worried about that, so I just clicked Volt Switch instead, knowing that something might come in, or I would just get adequate chip on Gardevoir for like Grafaya to KO it, which is great. So that's pretty much what happens. I go for Parting Shot, and Noivern is weakened again, so we're kind of back in the cycle of where we were, but this time instead of clicking Volt Switch, the Uxie comes out, and I just want to click T-Bolt to just make sure that this Uxie can't do too much damage to my team. Thankfully, he's Psychic and doesn't do very much to me, and I can just T-Bolt again and be perfectly okay. So here, Gardevoir comes in, clicks Mystical Fire, and bizarrely doesn't take magnezone out, which I did not expect. So I'm just going to T-Bolt again and get it in range of pretty much everything, which is awesome. I go into Grafaya here, I click Parting Shot? Gunk Shot? I don't even remember. Gunk Shot. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So here I then click Gunk Shot myself, because I just don't want to die to a Hurricane, but I'm pretty sure I have this game locked up. And here what I do instead, because I am confused, and because I kind of want Avalugg to see the light of day, I click U-turn so that I can give Avalugg a kill. Mountain Gale definitely claims 1 here at the very least, so I'm able to do that by just clicking Mountain Gale. And unfortunately, because I've done this in an attempt to give Avalugg at least 1 kill and see the light of day, I'm just going to die to a Moonblast, so that's not fun. But I go into my Zoroark, which is disguised as Uxie, just click Sucker Punch, and win the game. So we start off Surge 2-0, which is super great because I definitely feel like I've missed out on a lot of Gen 9 stuff, so I haven't like fully gotten to the meta that well, but because this is like a no Terra format, and a format that I'm used to in Surge, it's a nice way to sort of ease back into it. I've done like some Showdown stuff a little bit, but like, yeah, this is like the league that I'm actually like kind of focusing on to like hopefully do well in, because I like doing well in Surge and it's a really good format. So yeah, thanks Kurt and Cap for the battles. Hopefully you all enjoyed these 2 little Showdown recaps, and they were enjoyable. If you want to see the rest of my run, definitely let me know. I'll probably upload it regardless, but yeah, those are the first 2 rounds, and we'll see what I do in the next couple rounds, how I upgrade my team, and who I get to play. Because I'm 2-0 now, and now I get to face another player who's also 2-0. That's sort of how it works. You just play someone with the same record as you until you hit the brackets. So yeah, cool. All right, I think that's it. I'll see you all in the next video.